Good day, active citizens. Good day, fellow Ghanaians. Good day, fellow budgeteers. Do you know the provisions of the 2024 national budget? Let us do a deep dive and bring you up to speed. First off is the budget summary. Now, the budget summary is an overview of the total economic and financial activities for the year. So this year, Ghana is anticipating raising about 176.4 billion in total revenue and spending 226.7 billion in expenditure. And so the disparity or the shortfall between a total expenditure and the total revenue is what we call a budget deficit. And so in calculating what Ghana needs to make up for its expenditure in the 2024 fiscal year, you see that Ghana is to make up for a 50.1 billion Ghana cedis in deficit. Next up is the revenue framework. Now, a revenue framework is basically telling us where the money is going to come from. So the revenue framework is giving us an insight into where Ghana's estimated 176.4 billion Ghana cedis is going to come from. Now we see that looking at the 2024 national budget revenue framework, we see that 14.978 million Ghana cedis is going to come from oil and gas revenue. 2.5 billion is going to come from lodgement. Other revenue, that is from SNIT and other transfer units, is going to account for 7.6 billion. We're going to get 12.3 billion from retained for use by MMDAs. And then we are going to get 14.8 billion from non-tax revenue and 135.9 billion from non-oil tax revenue, coming together to make up 173.3 billion Ghana cedis. Now, this is just making up for domestic revenue. So all the figures I have enumerated so far will come from revenue earnings Ghana is going to accrue internally or domestically. Now, the remaining amount is going to come from external revenue grants, which will make up for about 3.1 billion Ghana cedis. Now, what will make up for this particular figure is program grants, which is going to account for 728 million, and project grants, which are going to account for 2.4 billion Ghana cedis, making 3.1 billion Ghana cedis. Adding this figure to 173.3 billion is going to give us what Ghana is estimating to raise, which is 176.4 billion Ghana cedis. The next stop is the expenditure analysis or the expenditure framework. This year, the government of Ghana is estimating to spend about 226.7 billion Ghana cedis. And so out of that particular figure, we have 114.3 billion Ghana cedis going towards recurrent expenditure. So the next stop is statutory transfers. So in the Ghanaian national budget, statutory transfers refer to appropriations made by government institutions. These transfers are enabled by law and backed by the constitution, allowing the institutions themselves to allocate funds. Importantly, these allocations cannot be altered or reviewed by the presidency or the executive arm of the government. So the next stop is the budget deficit. Yes, so earlier we looked at the fact that Ghana is anticipating to spend 226.67 billion Ghana cedis for the 2024 fiscal year, whilst estimating to raise about 176.4 billion Ghana cedis for the year. And so we see that the two figures will come together to reveal a shortfall of 50.1 billion Ghana cedis. So the government is planning to finance or service this particular debt or deficit through resources and support from the IMF and the World Bank Development Policy Partnership. The next stop is sectoral allocations. Yes, sectoral allocations to the various sectors. So in the 2024 national budget, we see that government has allocated 10.96 billion Ghana cedis to the administration sector, and the economic sector is taking 8.92 billion Ghana cedis. The infrastructure sector is taking 7.34 billion. The social sector is taking away 48.26 billion, whilst the public safety sector is taking 15.6 billion.